Congress is on track to avoid another shutdown. The White House says the president will sign a funding deal by tomorrow to keep the government open. But missing from the spending deal is funding for natural disaster recovery.
That is a major blow for South Georgia, where Hurricane Michael caused $2.5 billion in agricultural losses. Joe Hankey talked with a South Georgia farmer who is still waiting for that federal help. Joe, the question, will it come at all?
And Cheryl, well, we're waiting for the answer to that. Georgia's not the only one hurt by this. You might remember the massive wildfires in Northern California last year. There was also the 7.0 magnitude earthquake in Alaska. There's also the devastating volcano eruption down in Hawaii and many hurricanes that hit in the last year. There's no recovery funding in the budget deal for any of those 2018 disasters. Georgia lawmakers had been working to receive emergency funds. They thought it would be in the border funding deal, but now South Georgia will have to wait a little longer.
You got to cry about this for about 15 minutes, and then you got to lace your shoes up and get back after it. That's the only way you can deal with it.
When Hurricane Michael tore through South Georgia, it toppled 700 acres of trees at the Pecan Ridge Plantation. This is the farm Eric Cohen runs with his brother. He showed 11 Alive the damage a month after the storm. The state estimates Michael caused more than $2.5 billion in damages to Georgia's agriculture industry.
We'll be lucky to get this place cleaned up before the spring.
Since we visited Cohen in a special session, the state approved $270 million for hurricane relief and $200 million in tax credits for farmers replanting lost trees. Today, we talked with Cohen again.
And I can't say enough about Governor Deal and now Governor Kemp and Gary Black, how much they have helped us down here.
But the state's help only goes so far, and South Georgia remains in recovery mode.
Seminole County, Decatur County, Miller County, Baker County, it is a complete war zone down here.
As lawmakers in Washington focus on funding for border security to avoid a shutdown, for now, natural disaster recovery has been pushed aside, leading to frustration in Georgia.
We're Trump's base down here. This is Trump's base. And it's almost like we're getting kind of left behind or forgotten. I mean, the state of Georgia cannot handle a $2.5 billion disaster. I can tell you that.
Senators David Perdue and Johnny Isakson requested disaster relief funding for Georgia twice, introducing $3 billion agriculture amendments to bills. But those requests did not lead to funding. Now Perdue, Isakson, and a list of other senators have sent this letter to congressional leaders, saying Congress has a responsibility to appropriate disaster funding and assist our states, which are facing daily challenges trying to rebuild and restore. 13 senators are insisting a disaster bill be considered as soon as possible. For now, Cohen is hopeful, but unfortunately caught in the middle of Washington politics.
I know they'll get it worked out, but we just need help now, and we don't need to keep passing it down the road.
And Cohen tells me he's seeing businesses around him close. Some have declared bankruptcy. He is focused on rebuilding. Perdue's office says earlier this year the Senate discussed budget proposals and 98 senators supported disaster funding, but it has yet to be part of a bill that passes or part of the budget plan to avoid a shutdown. Chris, send it over to you in weather.